What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. We're here for the post game. I'm with Jay Lonzo. How are we doing, Jalen?
You know what, Pat? I was angry in the pregame. I'm not too thrilled after.
I'm gonna say though, I'm not too upset though. But before we do get into the game recap, shout out to everybody currently in the chat. We'll do a little attendance / roll call for the second time today. Got a little bit more energy now. That's a good thing. Shout out to Amy, Mookie the Goat, Borg. I saw you don't want to be called Brog anymore. I'll call you Borg. It's okay. Jack, Casey Baseball, Cake by the Ocean, Anthony Fernandez Jr., Derek, Buddy Skipper, Jamie, Lori. I might have hit Lori. I don't know. THG, we got who else we got? We got Glenn. Sorry if I missed anybody. I hope everyone's having an awesome day despite the Yankees' brutal loss. Listen, the Yankees lost to the Rays 10-5. It's what seems to go with this team is it's either A, the offense is just dazzling and the pitching sucks, or the pitching is amazing and the offense sucks. Today, we got a decent offense for one inning of the game, but besides that, the pitching was atrocious. I mean, this was probably the worst start we've seen from Kluber so far, like out of spring training and his first start of the season. It's just not what you want to see, like at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen. I said before in the pregame, I expect some like reliability out of Kluber. And I still do feel that way. I think once he gets a few more starts under his belt, he'll be fine. I'm not really too concerned about the pitching. I know they didn't look great today, but we have talked so much about how much depth this pitching staff has, and I still feel confident in our pitching. It was a positive to see the offense spark a little 2-out rally. I forget what inning that was in, but
the fourth, I believe.
Fourth inning, score 4 runs with 2 outs.
It was the third.
Yeah, that was nice to see. It was nice to see DJ get his first. It was nice to see Hicks hit his first. It was nice to see Stanton come through and shorten up in a 2-out runners in scoring position scenario and go against the shift. All that stuff was positive. Sometimes you just have clunkers, and this was kind of one of those games. You could kind of sense like everything was off from the beginning.
Yeah,
Kluber didn't have his good stuff. The defense wasn't playing well. This is stop me if you heard this before, but the Yankees are struggling in Tropicana Field. It happens.
Yeah, and listen, I wanted to say this on the pregame, but I felt like if I did, everyone was just gonna rip me. Today just felt like it was a blowout loss waiting to happen.
Yeah.
I didn't really have like much faith in Kluber like on the inside. But obviously it's like you want to like hope that these guys do. But I mean, I wasn't expecting Rich Hill to pitch so well today, especially after that 4-run third inning. Kind of thought that he was gonna collapse from there. He rebounded greatly. I think he got like 11 straight Yankees out after the Hicks home run. But let's take a look at the box score. We'll start off with the lineup. Listen, DJ went 2 for 4, first home run of the season. That's a positive for today. Stanton went 1 for 4. He had that 2-run single, chopped it opposite field through the shift. Hicks, first home run of the season. He's still batting 125. But like this, listen, I think you're the one who mentioned this, Jalen. I think Hicks looks much more comfortable right-handed.
Yeah, I think the difference between Hicks righty and lefty is a much bigger difference than we see with a lot of switch hitters. Like a lot of switch hitters, they're pretty much the same hitter, no matter what side of what side they're hitting from. But yeah. Hicks seems to be a way more reserved and fundamental hitter from the right side, and on the left side, it kind of seems like he hits for power strictly. Like on the right side, he's much shorter to the ball. He has better contact swing. It's less of a long swing. Like I like his left. Obviously, we love his lefty swing when it's on, but his righty swing is definitely better when you're looking for contact and solid line drives in the gaps. I love when he hits those home runs and just kind of pimps it.
I know
it looks good from the right side too. Like that pimp job he did today was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Right now he just looks a little bit more locked in. I think he's just not trying to do as much from the right side. And you saw, I think it was. Not yesterday, but Wednesday, that single up the middle, just kind of throwing the bat head at the ball. That's kind of what they teach you. Hitting. So
I feel like
where he's at.
I feel like when he bats left-handed, it seems like he's way too pull happy and home run happy. Yeah. It looks like he's just trying to like crush one every single time. But going past that, Torres went 1 for 4. Bruce 0 for 4. He's now batting 125, just like Hicks. He's not off to a great start, like at all. Last time we saw Bruce kind of raking was the beginning of spring training. He slowed down towards the end, and he wasn't even going to make the Yankees opening day roster if it wasn't for Luke Voigt being injured. So listen, I don't know how much longer they're going to give Bruce, especially with Odor coming soon. We'll see.
I think Bruce is probably gonna stick around just until Voigt comes back. I don't know if Odor is going to spell the end for Bruce just because they want to have that backup first base option. Even if you do want to start DJ at first, I think you just have Bruce in there. And the only way I could see it is if they trust Talkman enough to play at first, but they haven't put him in a game yet, so I don't know how I feel about that right off the bat, especially because you've seen that it does matter. Like a lot of people always just have this notion that we can just stick anyone at first base and it'll be fine. Like you see that it does matter, especially when you have a shortstop who can't throw the ball properly to first base. So
yeah,
you can't.
I mean, listen,
over there.
One guy who has been pleasantly surprising to start the season is Gary Sanchez. I mean, out of all these guys in the Yankees lineup, he's probably had like the most consistently good at bats out of all of them. I mean, because like even looking at Clint Frazier, like he started off the season red hot. Now I'm not trying to say it's the Marley Rivera curse, but ever since she asked him if he's a good left fielder, my man's 1 for 14.
Yeah, but bro, you know what? I was very pessimistic, and I'm still obviously I'm kind of ticked off at the team right now, just with the whole Judge situation and Gio and all that stuff. But I have kind of put into perspective. Like I told you before we started the stream, I kind of turned this game off and just allowed myself to, I went to the gym. I just relaxed a little bit instead of stressing out about the Yankees losing today.
Yeah,
it kind of puts into perspective that like these, Frazier, what was 1 for his last 14, 1 for his last 15.
Yeah.
It's going to average out. Like the guy, he's going to be fine. He's not, I see a lot of people talking about he's not the answer in left field. We need to trade him. Like it's the 6th game of the season, the 7th game of the season. Like we should just relax a little bit. Our guys are going to pick up. We still should be concerned about situational hitting. We still should be concerned about defense, especially when it comes to October. But I'm not stressed out about guys going through early slumps. I know Jay Bruce is struggling, but he's not going to be our first baseman long term. When Bruce comes back, Bruce is off this team. I know Clint Frazier is going to pull together.
Yeah, and listen,
like, DJ the same way.
Like that's why I'm not necessarily upset about this game. Like maybe it's because like I'm so numb to it so far to start the season. But I've said it once, I'll say it again. I'd much rather lose like a game like this than the games that we lost on like Easter, opening day, the other one against Baltimore, just because this one like doesn't hurt as much. Like if we're gonna lose, just make it a blowout. Like just don't get my hopes up. You know what I mean?
1,000%. I'd rather lose 10-5 in 9 innings than losing 3-2 in the 12th inning because the extra inning goal.
Tyler Wade, my man went 1 for 3 today. Just saying, batting .333 on the season. Talkman has yet to record it. The season had a great diving catch in left field, though. Absolutely. That's my 4th outfielder.
That's what I'm talking about. Is like baseball's one of those games where your numbers don't mean as much as people want them to, and Mike Talkman's value is so slept on this team. Like the fact that he's able to play such he's such a good defender. Like
I know.
It kind of blows my mind how good at defense he is. Because he doesn't have the flashiness. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have a cannon for an arm. He's not like extremely speedy fast. Like I'm trying to think of like Byron Buxton is a guy who I look at and I'm like, okay, he's a guy who I can send into center field and he's gonna make every single play.
Sure.
Talkman doesn't really give you that vibe, but he still makes ridiculous plays. And I love Mike Talkman. I really hope that they find a spot for him, and he's our 4th outfielder going forward.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly why I didn't want them to bring Brett Gardner back, because I want Talkman to be the 4th outfielder, but stuff happens. But listen, going to the pitching side of things, Kluber, Nelson, Litke, and Sessa all pitched today. Kluber only gave the Yankees 2 1/3, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Not a good performance whatsoever. I was very encouraged by his first start against the Blue Jays. Where he had the stuff and he just lacked the command. But today he just had nothing. He lacked the stuff, lacked the command.
He didn't have it today. It happens.
Yeah. Then Nelson came in hoping like, oh, maybe like he's our savior. Nelson might have looked worse than Kluber, to be quite honest with you. An inning and 2/3, 4 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 Ks. It's it's unfortunate because like Nick Nelson had a great start to the season so far. Like we're looking at him as like the next Chad Green. Um, kind of peed the bed today, but
But
like that's okay.
but he could absolutely still be that, and I think he
Yeah,
is. He could end up. I'm not like I might. This might be the worst day to say this, but he could end up being better than Chad Green just based off of his stuff. Like his fastball is ridiculous, and you
yeah,
saw a little bit of his off speed working in today and how nasty it can be. So I mean, it happens. People struggle. I can't. This is not a video game where if a guy's, if you have a high rating on a guy, they're just automatically going to go out and shove every time they go out there.
yeah,
So
and that's why you
like
can't give up on him just yet.
exactly.
Listen, Litkey, shout out to Lucas Litkey. Pitched 3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. I believe the 1 earned run was a Willie Adames solo home run. Also, Willie Adames, like just screw off, bro. Like
Hate that
head
guy.
cheerleader of the Rays, like
Absolutely.
annoying. But and Luis Sessa gave the Yankees 1 inning of work. I love Luis Sessa. I mean, we know that. Like I'm a Sessa guy.
You
But
are.
like overall, pretty disappointing game. You could have worse losses out there. Like I said, I'd much rather lose a game like this rather than like having to use like all your key bullpen arms in a close game than losing in extras because of like a Gleyber Torres error. You know what I mean? So I think like what the most important part is here though is how the Yankees bounce back tomorrow because it's going to be Chris Archer versus Domingo Germán. Domingo Germán is the guy before the start today. He had the worst start of the season so far against Toronto. So it's going to be interesting to see how Germán rebounds from that start. And it's also going to be interesting to see how the Yankees offense takes on Chris Archer, who isn't a good pitcher whatsoever. But we could say the same thing about Rich Hill, and they didn't really get to him much today.
Well,
So
I don't know. Rich Hill's looked pretty solid in the past like 3-4 years. He's kind of turned his career around. I know he's older. He's old, not even just older. He's an old pitcher,
yeah,
and
he's like 41, I think.
yeah, and he obviously has nothing that's going to blow by you. His off speed kind of looks pretty hittable, but just the way he locates, he's a good pitcher. I'm not really, and they did, and again, they did, even though it was all in one inning and it kind of all happened quickly, they did put up 4 runs on him. Like it wasn't like they got shut out through 7 innings against him. So I do expect another decent output from the offense tomorrow. Hopefully, Herman could bounce back and show a little bit of what he showed in spring training and in that first inning against the Blue Jays because he did look on that first inning and then he kind of just like
Sure.
lost out of nowhere. But yeah, I do something my old coach used to always say to me is like after or say to our team after a clunker and everything just seems to go wrong. Like the team is making errors. Guys are not putting out competitive at bats. Pitchers are not hitting spots. Just erase it. Today didn't happen. Obviously, you remember the things that you need to work on, but you can't sulk too much on everything going wrong today. Get it all out of your system today, and then tomorrow you go back out there. It's a new game. That's the beauty about baseball. You don't have to wait like in football where you have to wait a week to.
Look at you, Jalen.
You know what I'm
Love the
saying?
motivation.
Listen, I'm normally the positive guy, and that's what going to the gym can do. He just gets a nice little dopamine boost.
No, but like here's my thing. It's like we want to talk about the positives from today. What's been the Yankees' biggest issue so far this season? Lack of hitting with runners in scoring position, right?
They did it today.
Bro, they were 1-for-1 with runners in scoring
Yeah,
position.
we did it once, but I mean, listen. The thing we can be as positive as we want. At the end of the day, the things that we have stressed about and worried about are going to come back and rear its ugly head, as an expression I like. Like that's going to come back and it's going to pop up in the biggest moments of the season, and we're going to have to address it at some point. Whether the guys just man up and perform or make some changes organizationally and make some trades to bring in guys who are better contact hitters, whatever it is, something needs to change if they want a chance to overcome those obstacles. But the defense and the situational hitting, they're gonna be there. Like that's gonna
Yeah.
be a problem going forward, no matter how well they play. I know we're probably gonna struggle the rest of April and maybe finish like a little bit over 500, and then we're gonna win like 40 out of 50 games, and then our record's gonna be inflated, and we're gonna coast somehow to the playoffs, and then the real stuff is gonna come out. So
Yeah, Divac Shot comes up with a good point here. I did say it could go two ways. The Yankees either destroy Rich Hill or he dominated them. I don't want to say he dominated them, but I mean after that 1 inning, the Yankees really should have just let the floodgates like open, but they really didn't. So that kind of sucks.
to me, 4 runs. And it's not a ton of runs, but I think against this Rays lineup, which every year we always say this, and somehow we just can't pitch to them. It's insane.
It's weird.
The
It's
Red
so
Sox just swept this Rays.
bro.
and the
That's
Red
what I'm
Sox
saying.
is atrocious. But 4 runs against this Rays team should be enough to win a game.
Can I address something? Listen, I'm usually like Aaron Boone's number one like
Yep.
criticizer. What is that called? A a critic.
There
Yeah,
you go. You just like
critique.
made it harder on yourself.
No, I know. I'm normally Aaron Boone's number one critic, and I see a lot of people in the chat like knocking Boone. There's no way you could blame today's game on Aaron Boone. I mean, like,
I agree.
why would you blame it on Boone?
Not today, but I do think the one main reason I hate Boone is because I think he has sucked a lot of the energy, the edge, the toughness out of the team.
Yes.
So I think whenever the team goes down, you kind of just feel like, yeah, we're losing this game just because the team has no fight in them, because our manager has no fight in them. Even when he argues calls, he's almost like, I'm sorry. Like,
sure, yeah. If we're talking about like that aspect of the game, sure, I agree with that. But if we're talking like in-game decisions,
Yeah.
I thought bringing in Nelson to replace Kluber in the third, I believe it was it? Yeah, in the third, that was an awesome decision.
Yeah.
Nelson's been like one of your best relievers. It was a high leverage spot early in the game, so why not go with Nelson? Thought that was smart. But yeah, I get the whole aspect of like when we're down by 1, it feels like we're down by 15, just because of like you could just sense like a lack of motivation in the guys, right?
And
like it just seems like they're done.
I know a lot of people talked about how the Yankees are one of the biggest like trash talkers in the game, and it feels like all they do is whenever they play huge games, they talk trash. But like, there's no like. I know that they're a close knit team and they're all friends and all that. That's great, but when you look at the bench, like when big moments happen, it kind of seems like in big moments, I'm saying, like a big at bat or when the team is on the field pitching and like the bottom of the ninth inning, it's almost like guys are just waiting for something to happen rather than getting up, getting excited, and making it happen. And people really underestimate the value of the energy on the bench, the energy in the field, people talking. Like that's not just like a high school thing. That's not just a travel ball thing. That's everywhere. You see the Rays doing it. Like the best teams do that. The best teams communicate. They're energetic. They're passionate, and it all starts. I think it genuinely starts with coaching. And when you develop that soft mentality that we kind of talked about before, I think it trickles down.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% with everything you just said.
Boone has been a little bit better this year as far as especially his management of the bullpen. Been better. He's made like maybe 3 or 4 questionable decisions. Whether it's the lineup, but even the lineup is kind of like, okay, that's a lot of that has to do with coming from upstairs.
Yeah, I doubt he has a lot of input on that, to be honest.
I mean, maybe like here and there, like he'll say something and give his input, but the in-game decisions are his. That's been proven. It's true. It's confirmed. So I like how he's managed the bullpen this year so far. I don't love some of his late game substitutions, but I understand why he does some of them. That is risky, but sometimes
except for Gardner, I'll never understand that.
But
bringing Gardner for defense.
Some of them I don't understand, or like when he pinch ran Gardy at first base when the winning run was on third base. That just didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, listen, like he obviously has bonehead decisions. But today I think the decisions were solid. Now apparently he said after the game that Gio should hopefully be back tomorrow. So I guess that means he's done for the weekend.
Gio,
like right
out for the All-Star break.
No, yeah, like I thought it was just really, really weird. That I still want to go back to that, like how he was scratched like 30 minutes before the game started. Like if he did have vaccine symptoms, like did they just appear like all of a sudden?
It's possible. I'm not as mad about that as I was before, just because I think the more I've learned about the vaccine symptoms, like they can kind of just sneak up on you randomly. And so maybe he was feeling it early in the day, and then as practice kind of went on, he got more fatigued. So like as they were warming up, maybe that's when he started to feel it.
Yeah,
so it's possible that like after he went through pregame stretches and BP, he kind of talked to Boone and is like, yeah, I'm not really. I have no.
I guess that makes sense. Sure. I mean,
if he's back tomorrow, then.
But also what the key is that I didn't realize in the pregame is that like the COVID IL, you could come back whenever. Yeah, like there's no like. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I thought he was going to be out for 10 days just because he had 1 to 2 day vaccine symptoms.
Yeah. I did like the whole Savages in the box stuff from Boone. I guess I did. I felt like it was a little bit like it felt scripted.
I hated it so much.
Like, right? Like, it just felt like it just didn't feel natural. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, it felt like
It did feel natural. That's how he is. Like he's very like, hey man.
no, but what I'm saying is like it felt like Aaron Boone rehearsed like that situation in the shower, like for like a whole year before that. He's like, if I ever get this opportunity, I'm walking up there and I'm saying, my guys are savages in that box.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what I felt out of that.
No, for sure. For sure.
Boone is a cashman. Yes, man. He has no authority. That's I would say that's true to a point, even though like the front office has denied it. That's why like we can't really like get on Boone entirely for like stuff like that because he's answering to someone else. I doubt he has the final call on a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
But looking toward tomorrow, the Yankees are going up against Chris Archer. I believe he lost to the Marlins in his previous start.
Let me just reliever. I think he didn't even start that game.
Okay, so last Saturday he made his first start since August of 2019, when he threw 2 innings and allowed 4 runs against the Miami Marlins.
Did he start that game though?
He did.
Oh, I thought he. I guess I was confused because he only threw 2 innings.
Yeah, it was his first start since August of 2019. So I guess he didn't pitch last year.
I think he was injured last year.
Oh, gotcha. Listen, I mean, the Yankees have decent career stats against Chris Archer. Brett Gardner has solid. He's batting like 286 in his career against Archer, so he might find his way in the lineup. But do we think Aaron Judge is going to be back in the lineup tomorrow? He looked pretty good, like in batting practice pregame. He was catching fly balls. Like he looked like he was fine.
Yeah,
and if he still had soreness, they wouldn't let him do that.
I think if everything checks out and he's fine tomorrow morning, I think he'll be in there. Maybe they'll bring him in slowly because he's made of actual pins and bubble gum. Like maybe they'll play him 7 innings. Like maybe that's what they'll do. Which I mean, we don't have to get too deep into it, but
yeah,
maybe that's the case. But I think he should be in there as long as he feels okay tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean
that was a possibility. So I don't think he would have done that.
The only way that like I could see this like not happening is if the Yankees realize like, okay, like maybe we don't want Judge going up against Archer because like Gardner has such good career stats against him. Might as well just like keep it one more day, you know what I mean? Because Judge's career stats against Archer are much worse than Guardy's.
The only way I could see him not playing tomorrow is if they sit him out for this whole series just because they don't want to play him on the
turf. They could DH him. But then I wouldn't sit Stanton. I mean, he's been putting up pretty solid at-bats.
Stanton apparently can play the outfield, but are you really going to now play him in the turf where you're
yeah.
Whatever, bro. This is so stupid that we have to worry about this.
It's so annoying at this point.
Like, bro, are you...
But all right, so Sunday, the starter for the Rays isn't announced yet, but I'm assuming it's going to be Glass now. Right now, the Yankees have Montgomery penciled in. Do we think that like Montgomery's actually going to pitch, or is it going to be Cole? Especially if the Yankees lose tomorrow, are they going to risk getting swept?
Well, no, I don't really think they care about that. I wouldn't. Like, if I'm being honest, if I'm Aaron Boone or whoever making the decisions, I wouldn't move my ace up just because I don't want to get swept. Like, this is not, it's not a playoff series.
Well, it would be normal rest, no?
I'm saying if you want him to go on normal rest, that's why it should be. It shouldn't be based on if you win or lose tomorrow. So whoever's pitching on Sunday should know already if they're pitching on Sunday because that kind of dictates your preparation up to that point. So it shouldn't be, we'll wait and see after the game, and then I'm letting you know in 24 hours before if you're going to start.
No, yeah. Did you see this comment? Whoa, did Pat just smile while saying Brett Gardner? Yeah. I did, bro, just because like it's comical at this point, like how much we're going to see Brett Gardner this season. Like it's a little bit ridiculous.
That's the other thing. We knew it. Like we knew it was gonna.
But bro, I just I want to see Mike Tauchman get more at bats, and it's so frustrating because like you throw him in like for his first start of the season, oh he doesn't get a hit, like then you just assume like he's not good. Like if he gets as many at bats as like Brett Gardner does, like he'd probably be just as good. Like we saw in 2019 what he was able to do when he got consistent ABs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And above average defense, much better defense than Brett Gardner, a much better arm than Brett Gardner. I'm sorry. Starter Sunday's Waka. The Rays have Michael Waka.
I didn't know that.
I didn't even know he was on the Rays. All right, well.
Good for them.
Glad. Bro, if Michael Waka was on the Yankees, he'd have like an 8.5 ERA by now.
Yeah.
He's gonna go to Tampa, become an absolute dog. We're gonna talk like Cardinals Waka. Let's see. Frazier needs to swing and stop taking down the middle pitches. I've noticed this a decent amount in the past few games for Frazier. He's not as aggressive at the plate as he was to start the season. Now I don't know if that's a mental thing. I guess it is. But he's looking at balls right down the middle, bro.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be fine, bro. This happens. Like some people have their cold streaks in August. Some people have them in the first 6, 7 games of the season. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about Clint Frazier.
I mean, but that's kind of important to remember because I think a lot of fans forget that, especially in the beginning of the season, which we currently are still in. Let's not forget. I think today was Game 7 of 162. We have a long way to go. These guys are gonna come around eventually, but I mean, bro, these guys are gonna have their ups and downs, and it just sucks because it seems like what happens with the Yankees is all of the hitters in the lineup go through their ups and downs at the same time.
100%. Yeah.
So that means when
There's
the
usually
team's
one-
off. It's
Yeah.
contagious. Hitting's contagious.
There's usually one guy that's doing well at the time, and it's he's never up in the situation when we need him to be up. And it's usually
I know.
either DJ or Judge, and now Stanton's kind of that guy right now. Hopefully Hicks is turning a corner. I can't believe I just said turning a corner.
Yeah, but bro, this is so expected with the Yankees. Every season we go into it, besides last year. But last year they started off the season red hot. I think they were 7-1 or something. But every season we start off, and probably because it was warm out. Apparently the Yankees can't play in cold weather. I don't know. But bro, they start off the season very slow, and then around say once May comes around, the weather starts getting warmer, then they start mashing because we know the ball travels further when it's warm out. But that's why I'm not concerned. And I see a lot of people in the comments kind of losing their minds. Don't it's really not worth the stress in the beginning of April. Obviously it's frustrating. I understand we want to see the Yankees win every single game, but at the same time we have to realize they're going to go through their ups and downs, and in order to get to those really high highs that we're expecting once the weather gets warmer, we have to go through these really cold streaks, especially against teams like Tampa in Tropicana Field, where the Yankees never seem to do well. So this is somewhat expected, right?
No, 100%. Listen, baseball is one of those games where it's such a long season that you kind of lose sight of how long it is, and every game it's a long baseball game. So you sit there for 3 hours and hang on every pitch, and then you kind of just look up and realize, wow, there's so many more games, there's so many more at bats, there's so many more innings to play. I don't really think a baseball fan grasps that all at one time, and it's hard to because you get so invested, especially us with the Yankees. We're so invested in this team that every pitch seems so heavy and important. And I'm not to say that it's not important, but it's well, we have time, and it's not that these games don't matter. It's not that because a win in April counts the same as a win in September, but you have to allow these guys to let their play average itself out. And we haven't even gotten through a month yet. So to say anyone is out of, is done for, it's not a fair verdict yet.
Yeah, listen, bottom line,
final verdict on his Glaber with his defense. That's the only thing I'm going to say.
Bro, the final verdict that I'm taking from today's game can only go up from here. Right. I mean, unless we hit a low like we did last season where we actually looked like a last place team, because let's not forget that happened last year where the Yankees looked like they might even miss the postseason in an expanded playoffs year. But let's not forget that.
There was a lot more injuries with that.
Sure.
We didn't have nearly as much pitching as we do now.
So. No, yeah. I get it. But that's still fresh in my mind. So I guess that's why I'm not taking this too harshly. Now if the Yankees fall 5 games below 500, then maybe I'll start to get a little bit nervous. But still, they're 1 game under 500. The season just started. It's gonna get better. Do we know who they're playing after the Rays series?
I think they're.
Is it Toronto?
Playing Toronto again in Toronto.
Okay, well in Florida, but yeah, that's.
They're playing. I think they're playing. Then I think they play the Braves, and then I think they play the Orioles again or Tampa again. It's we barely play any different teams this first month.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal situation. I have to say Toronto again after Tampa, but it is what it is. Before let's take the last question. Hey Pat Alonso, do you guys think Cashman has a plan up his sleeve for the trade deadline? I'm going to be honest, I don't think so.
No,
I think they're going to stand very pat. at the trade
The
deadline.
only way I could really see them doing like a big trade, I think I take that back. I do think they might make like one or two small minor trades just to get rid of some of these 40-man guys because Cashman has a history of like letting these guys walk, and it's kind of annoying because you see like
Yeah,
Whitlock throwing 97 with a nasty change.
I know.
Sucks like, so I think
Dylan Tate looks really good.
yeah, like guys like that where he could maybe get something back for them. So maybe that. But the only way I see him pulling off some like big trade, where I know a lot of people talk about like Trevor Story, is if the Rockies are completely out of the race and they're selling hard on Trevor Story, as they should have been with instead of Arenado, because
That's
Story's
what I said. Yeah,
at the end of this year. I don't understand why they didn't trade him, but maybe they'll trade him at this deadline. And if you can get Trevor Story, you do that, and you obviously wouldn't have to trade any of your like big pieces. And when I say big pieces, I mean like you wouldn't have to trade Gleyber Torres because
yeah,
or Frazier. But you feel comfortable to move Clark Schmidt, who's been dealing with a lot of arm trouble since he's been in the Yankee system. Before the Yankee system, you move him and maybe a couple other prospects, not bad prospects, decent prospects, and get back Trevor Story for half a season. Hopefully, you can re-sign him, similar to like the Lindor situation. I
yeah.
I don't see how you turn that down.
No, I would love Trevor Story. I just don't see it happening, especially midseason. Maybe in the offseason if the price isn't too high and it's in the Yankees wheelhouse, maybe.
In the
But
offseason, he's gonna be a free agent.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. If his price
Right.
isn't too high, like salary wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, I think as far as the trade deadline goes, I don't think the Yankees are going to make any moves. I think we're going to hear like Luis Severino is their trade deadline acquisition. If anything, they'll call up Devi too. I mean, they have guys in the minors, but we'll see. But that is going to wrap things up for the post game today. Jalen, you want to meditate?
Yeah, I think it'd be good. I think
Let's do
everyone's
it.
upset today, so
Let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. That was peaceful.
that was good.
I like it. I like it. Listen, chat. Have a great day. It's early. It was a 3 o'clock game. 7 o'clock now. You still guys got the rest of the night. It's Friday night. Go have some fun. I know the Yankees are a little bit disappointing, but they play again tomorrow, 1 o'clock. We will be live for the pregame tomorrow on the YouTube channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Then we'll be live directly after the game as usual. Hope everyone has an awesome night. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Peace.